Welcome to the first ever virtual NEPA Scene Podcast. I'm Rich Howells. I'm the founder and editor of NEPA Scene. With everyone streaming safely from home, we're going to host a panel discussion tonight on the coronavirus shutdown's impact on local arts and entertainment with the FM Kirby Center Artistic Director Ann Rodella, Wilkes-Barre singer-songwriter Dustin Douglas of Dustin Douglas and the Electric Gentlemen, and Scranton Fringe Festival Executive Director Conor Kelly O'Brien. So we're talking about how the quarantine has affected the livelihoods of local artists, how venues are dealing with closing and rescheduling so many events, the creative ways artists are adapting to this, what you at home can do to help, and much, much more. So please stay tuned for the full hour. We would love to hear from you guys. Everybody's got a coronavirus story right now. So leave yours down below in the comment, and anything you want to add to our discussion, any comments, suggestions. If you just want to cry, that's okay. You could cry in those comments, and we will get to those later on in the show. We would love to hear from you guys, but we're going to remain positive tonight as much as we possibly can. We're going to be realistic about the things going on, but also try to keep a positive head about this whole thing. Before we even begin, I just want to have a quick disclaimer. I know that there are bigger issues in the world right now, but because of the coronavirus, but we're an arts and entertainment publication. So I kind of feel the need to take the discussion in that route and talk about that specifically. I feel like if you get too general and you're talking about the world and everything else, I don't know if we're going to solve that from a couple of homes in Scranton or Wilkes-Barre, but we can talk about things that we can actually make an impact on and change in our little community. And there is plenty of things you can do to help out local businesses, local artists, local venues, all that good stuff. So that's really what we're going to focus on tonight. This is usually where I plug our sponsors, but the V-Spot and Stage West in Scranton are both closed at the moment. Stage West still has takeout orders, so I do recommend their food is great. I've had it before, and I'm sure I'll have it again over the next couple of weeks. So please head over to their Facebook page and place an order. Support those guys during this time. If you enjoyed what we did with the V-Spot last week, if you saw the Juice Box sessions with Ionic Development, we had a hand in that as well. It was a great time. It was probably the biggest thing we've ever streamed. I think we had over 12,000 views on that. We're probably going to try and do something like that again within the next week or two. So please keep a lookout for that on our social media. And if you want to support NEPA Scene, we have a Venmo at NEPA Scene. We have a PayPal. It's my email, richnepacine@gmail.com. And we have all kinds of merchandise that I will shamelessly hawk. We have a t-shirt, the one that I'm wearing right now, that you can purchase, which appropriately says the scene's not dead. And that still holds true even when everyone's closed and people can only perform online. I still believe that's true. We have stickers and buttons for only $1. We have these cool CDs with 19 tracks from 19 original local bands for $10. And the shirts, I think, are 16 online, unless you want the larger sizes. So if you want to help us out in any way, you can. Obviously, I know everybody's kind of financially strapped right now. But as you can tell, because both of our sponsors are closed, that means we're not bringing in any money either. Our open mic that we were hoping to start in April, I don't know if that's going to happen now. So that was another small revenue stream for us, and I don't know when that is. So we're going to talk about some of those uncertainties right now, actually. I'll start with Dustin. So you're obviously a musician who plays out several nights a week. What has it been like for you to just suddenly have those gigs disappear overnight?
I mean, at first it was very, very stressful, and worrisome, and and then my other gig, I work at Music Around, as well as my side hustle, and that has also shut down. So, but yeah, man, you just make the most of it. I think we're all really making the most of it. I think there's positives to take out of it, and we just have to do what we have to do so we have a killer summer. Yeah, we just got to be smart.
And you've done some live streaming as well. How did
Yeah,
that go for you? Did you get some good responses to that?
absolutely. I don't know why anyone would want to watch me sing songs in my house, but people showed up, and it was super cool. And I'm gonna do another one and play some guitars, and yeah, man, and that's stuff that maybe I wouldn't have been able to do if I wasn't locked down too, because I'd be busy playing and doing, and you just really got to find those kind of, lights in this darkness, for sure.
Oh, I know my dogs have been loving it. They're
Oh man,
thrilled to have me home all the time.
I'm starting to think that maybe Spike is getting a little bit irritated that we're home so much. I think he's starting to be like, all right, it was cool.
Yeah. You guys could go for a little bit.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, man, for sure.
Well, and it's tough because I see a lot of these artists offering, please, throw us a couple bucks on Venmo or PayPal or whatever. We streamed for 3 hours the other night, over 3 hours from the V Spot. We had beautiful picture and sound, a great setup. We made a total of $10.
Oh man!
so that's like, oh man, it's a kick in the teeth. So I can't even imagine what artists are going through trying to do this from their own personal profiles and stuff.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough. There were people that did, and I almost felt guilty because that's just how I am. But there was people that did send me some things, man. So I want to say thank you to them, and even a check in the mail, which is cool. That means a lot to me. That means more than just the money.
For sure. People have, I think, you see so much of the media focusing on the crazy stuff, some really shitty Garrity's customers.
Holy shit.
But I mean, geez, we got to focus on the Garrity's employees have been killing it. Their owner's been killing it. There's good stuff, there's some strength to be shown, to look up to,
and we have to be very thankful to those people, man, because I mean, they're really making things happen. They really are, and they're not usually out there in the spotlight, and then now they are, and they should be, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's funny to see some of the people that just maybe a month or two ago were said, these people don't deserve any more than minimum wage or anything else. And now those same people are like, they're my heroes. They do so much for us. Of course. I think maybe that's a lesson that people will take away from this, that, it doesn't matter what your job is, doesn't matter what you do. Everybody deserves to make a living from what they do. And
it's another positive. I think people were forced to think about things that they normally wouldn't have, and they're going to change their view on some stuff, man. And that's cool, man. Needless to say, I'm not trying to sound like Gandhi over here, because the first 2 days I was just like reading Facebook and reading articles, and I was losing my mind. So I have since calmed down. So I have definitely since calmed down.
So, Conor, you're a local actor, as well as a writer and a producer of theater. I know you've had some very important shows lined up that you were forced to postpone. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. First of all, Rich, thank you for having me, and thank you for having all of us here. I truly do appreciate it, all joking aside. Yes, so those locally in the past few years probably know me as the co-founder and executive director of the Scranton Fringe Festival. I co-founded that with Elizabeth Bowen. We started back in 2015, but I am an actor and a writer. I'm actually based more so in New York City right now. I have an apartment in Harlem where my poor little bedroom is sitting empty right now, just accruing dust and rent I cannot afford. I'm back in Scranton, Pennsylvania, in my childhood bedroom. Which I'm all joking aside on that, I am super grateful that I have that privilege and ability to have somewhere to crash that's a little safer and a little more, less stress-free or more stress-free. But yeah, so I co-created a play called Static that's like a hybrid concert play with a fabulous musician from New Orleans named Daniel Amendi that local audiences might know. He's done some work in the area, and that's obviously how we've met. And we've taken it to Edinburgh, Scotland, and we've had runs in New York City and Orlando, Florida. And our producer and our backer was literally, I mean, like to the day, which I'm kind of grateful, was about to sign the check. We were offered not only 8 weeks off Broadway in New York at the end of this year, but we were offered a run at the most fabulous. Oh my God, I'm actually getting emotional. We were offered this, so stupid. We were offered this fabulous run in New Orleans at this amazing theater called the Southern Rep, who, this is so horrible, but like the day the virus broke out was also like in the mainstream media was the day they announced a capital campaign they so desperately needed. And if anyone who's in like independent professional theater, the Southern Rep has launched so many Broadway and off-Broadway playwright careers. They are such a fabulous venue. So if nothing else comes of this conversation, I hope people go in New Orleans, go and for all your New Orleans followers, I hope that they go support. But between that and the off-Broadway run and teaching gigs, I worked with a local group agency, a wonderful agency, Arts and Education through NEIU, placing professional artists in public schools to teach these kids. I've literally lost anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000 worth of work for the rest of the year. If it wasn't for some wonderful local organizations and my work with Fringe, and I've picked up some part-time work with Meals on Wheels, helping them coordinate their volunteers, I literally, in terms of as an artist, I do not have a single paid day of work for the rest of 2020. And I'm one of the lucky ones, oddly enough.
Right. Like it's and the thing is the uncertainty, I think, is the scariest part about this whole thing, not knowing like, all right, can we fix this by the end of the year? Or, are we just, out all these jobs, out all this money? Like, I don't even know.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing about having, an agent and a producer and a backer for this particular show, and my creative partner, Dan, down in New Orleans. We're not going anywhere. Well, knock on wood. Oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. So hopefully we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And the theaters are so devastated. So the twisted underside of the silver lining is that we're all in the same place. We're all in limbo. We're all in hiatus. So this sounds so horrible, but it's not like someone is doing better right now, all things considered.
Right.
Which sounds horrible. I wish they were. As a producer, that's really scary too. We're asking people to commit to shows and schedules at the Fringe. We have a whole year planned out. We don't always announce it in real time because we like to kind of trickle out our announcements, but we had a beautiful encore work from our 2019 festival ready to go in May. And it's everything. It's us as producers. It's our wonderful venue partners like the Scranton Cultural Center. It's the artists themselves. We're asking people to commit. So just to clarify, our 2020 festival in Scranton is scheduled for September 24th through October 4th. It's still on, and we're actually going to extend applications through April. And we've gotten some amazing submissions, and we're cautiously optimistic that we'll be able to present some version of the festival. But not only are we 100% sure that it won't be nearly as big as it once was and may have been, we're also pretty understanding and confident that there's a chance we may have to cancel even that. Even if by fall things are back to normal, that's, sponsorships, that's venues, that's, so much. I see Anne just like shuddering in the corner of my screen.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that'll be an opportunity to talk on that end, because I'm sure everything at the Kirby Center is the same thing we're seeing happening at the Scranton Cultural Center and other venues and partners down our way. But it's really scary. And it's, how do you ask an artist in a production to invest, a little bit in you now for something that may or may not happen down the road? We've canceled fundraisers. This is the really devastating thing, and this will be the last thing I say for my little rant. We had a fundraiser already announced in tandem with the Kentucky Derby, and it was a partnership with us, Meals on Wheels, the VAC, the Voluntary Action Center, and the NEPA Teen Youth Shelter, and it was projected to make us alone like anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 gone, and we are never going to get that money back. And for an organization like our size, that's almost like a tenth of our annual budget, just gone. To the wonderful musician before me's point, we're staying optimistic and we're trying to be proactive, not reactive. But in this climate, that's really hard.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I did we did a post about this earlier, and I hope you guys read that article, and I hope you guys check this out. The Fringe Festival is doing kind of a little online thing for the time being. Could you talk a little bit about that, and how people can support those shows?
Sure. Thank you, Rich. Somewhere my Liz and my board was like pulling out their hair, making sure I was going to mention that. We started a program called Social Distant Scene Theater.
I like that, by the way.
Thank you. I didn't come up with the name. Actually, Dan, one of my writing partners from New Orleans, I mentioned earlier, he actually was the inspiration behind that. But Liz and I were in Australia for most of February. We attended the Adelaide Fringe, which is the second largest arts festival in the world. And I'm so grateful we had that opportunity before all this happened. We were attending a conference of festival producers and other arts industry professionals. And being overseas, their media was sort of covering this ahead of the game of our mainstream media here in the States. So we kind of saw the writing on the wall. So we immediately, like in the plane on the way back, 15 hours from Melbourne to Los Angeles, started developing this plan. So right now we have 8. We're about to add our 9th and 10th this week. Pre-recorded high quality productions from not only our festival, but festival and venues from around the world. We actually have a production that was filmed. It was called Just a Penny by the local group Patasphere. They did it at our festival, and then a few months later, they actually performed it at the FM Kirby Center, which is where the recording comes from. So if that's a segue you don't take advantage of, I don't know what else to give you. So we were really, really grateful. Each production is individually priced. We are returning half, if not in some cases more than half, of the proceeds back to the artists. And it's sort of a digital prototype festival of, quite frankly, something we may have to do for our fall festival as well. I'm really hoping not, and I'm confident that we'll return to some form of our live events this fall, but obviously no one really knows what's going to happen tomorrow, next week, let alone several months from now. So we've had a great response. We have media coverage from across the country, including NEPA Scene, of course, rolling out this week. And we just really encourage anyone, go to scrantonfringe.org, go to our Eventbrite, Scranton Fringe Festival, find the program. Every dollar you spend is going back to our nonprofit organization or these wonderful artists.
Well, I think people are, myself and my site included, so focused on, oh my God, the artists. You have to consider the venues as well and what they're going through right now, and not just the bars and restaurants, but the concert venues, the Kirby Center, the arena, the cultural center, so many places that have great shows lined up that are all kind of disappeared. So. And, how have you guys been holding up during all this?
You cut out, Rich. Did you say something to me?
Yeah, I think we just cut out for a second. So Anne, how have you at the Kirby Center and the employees there been holding up during all this?
Sure. We have had to postpone or cancel all of our performances through to April 13th right now. Frankly, we're working behind the scenes to cancel or postpone past that. We're probably looking at all of our events through mid-May. Our full-time staff are all working from home, but our event staff, without events, they're not coming in. So it's a hard time to be a venue because we understand and appreciate the importance of social distancing. But by social distancing, we are just seeing money go out of our.
Anne, I think we just had you cut out for a second there.
Did you hear the answer?
I just the tail end of this.
Am I in?
It's funny because everything was running perfect. We were probably in this chat for almost an hour before we went live, and everything was fine. And now,
I already hate you all. Yeah.
Am I back on?
You're back.
I think
Did
you're
you
back
hear the
now.
end of my answer?
Just the tail end I missed.
Okay. I think the end was just, it's a tough time to be a venue because all of our money is going out right now, as the shows postpone or cancel. All patrons are eligible for a refund, so it's just revenue leaving the Kirby Center, unless people choose to hold on to their tickets for the new dates.
Which let's hope they do.
Yes.
So, scheduling wise, how does this, obviously you guys aren't used to being able to having to cancel and postpone so many shows. How do you even go about, organizing that?
Sure. That's why I shuddered when Conor was speaking, because I would say probably about 90% of our tours right now are looking to the fall. We're looking at September, October, and November, our most popular months to move shows to. We have a handful that are looking at this summer, but we have a few that are even looking to 2021. It's really just a game of back and forth. It's a lot of holding dates, challenging dates from shows who are already holding them just for our new season. It's an interesting time to be doing calendar work at the Kirby Center because this is when we would build our new season. We always look to announce our season in mid-May. So we've been working behind the scenes to put together a 2021 season, and now part of our 1920 is moving into that. So it's caused large numbers of holds on different dates, a lot of conversation with agents and promoters who are bringing shows to the Kirby, and just a lot of patience. We've been lucky that everybody seems to be acting a little kinder and a little more patient during all of this.
So, what is your, plan once this thing is hopefully, in the next couple of months kind of moves away, how are you planning to tackle that next season or whatever? You're just going to kind of push everything closer together like that, or, maybe push some things out maybe further into 2021?
I think it'll be an experiment and something new. Pushing things out isn't to us because we have to follow the tours, what tours are going out, when they're going out, and when they're routed in the Northeast, so that they can visit our venue. I think as we go forward, we'll, keep our mission and keep our eyes in the same direction they've always been, to keep our doors open as much as we can, keep our doors open, our theater busy, and just keep bringing a good mix of entertainment to the area. We want to bring those big headliners, those big rock shows. We want to support local. We want to bring theater. We want to bring relaxed performances to the area. So the goal will be to continue that mix. But I think the actual tours and which ones we can bring and when we can schedule them will be up to the routing.
So, everybody, I think, has expressed their opinions on how Governor Tom Wolf has handled the crisis over the last few weeks, how the state, how the federal government is handling things. Some people feel like we should be, shutting everything, everything should have shut down earlier, that maybe we should be shut down even longer, that, this might get pushed to the summer by the time things kind of start to go back to normal. Some people feel like we should be open now, and I think some people are kind of downplaying how much this is. How do you guys feel in terms of how the state and the city governments have handled things so far. Do you think they've handled things the right way and stuff? And obviously, none of us are big experts here. I'm just asking for general opinions.
I personally think that it has to happen. If we've all been sick before, and we've gone out and went to work when we still were sick, and it's gotten worse. We've all been there, as a metaphor. We just have to do it as long as we have to, and we all want to get back to work. Everyone wants to get back on the road, and everyone wants to play more gigs, and but we have to do what's right, for sure. Whatever that may be. I don't have the answer.
Me?
Anybody else want to jump on that?
I think everybody, whether in government, healthcare, or each individual business, is just doing the best they can right now. I am practicing social distancing. I think at this point, for the health of everyone should be. I think it's natural for everyone to feel some form of anxiety or frustration over the lack of knowledge over when this will end. But overall, I do believe that everybody who is in power is really just trying their best to get us out of this situation safely and healthy.
I echo everything that the other two panelists have stated. I have to say that while I am far from a political expert, I respect the efforts that Governor Tom Wolf. I kind of live in two worlds, here and in New York, so I obviously also have Daddy Kumo in his forearms to contend with, and I really respect that. I also want to give a shout out to a couple of locally based groups and powers that be. I really respect the administration of Paige Cognetti in the city of Scranton. There's only so much that a local municipality can really do, but I think she's been, again, going back to my earlier statement, she has been so proactive, not reactive. The director of economic and community development for the city of Scranton, Mary Pat Ward, has also been super available and forthcoming with whatever information is available. To Ms. Rodella's point, that it's not so much that we're all looking for magical solutions tomorrow. We anyone with a brain knows that's not possible. But I think being accessible, and even if it's every day, just saying, "Hey, this is the information we currently have. I'll take questions." Mayor Cognetti has done so many different town halls. I really adore her, and I think her leadership style has been so professional and efficient and pristine, and I really respect that. From city council with Dr. Rothschild and others. I also want to give a personal shout out to Deborah Peterson and John Cardoni at the Scranton Cultural Center and their entire team, because they've been so wonderful to us since 2016, and their ability to communicate has been. Oh, Dustin left me. Okay, he'll come back. He disagrees with my statements on local.
He's like,
but I just to answer your question in the longest way I've been humanly able to. I really am grateful in a weird way to be in Scranton at this time, because I feel such a strong connection, relatability, and compassion from our local leadership, both at the political level and in my industry. John and Deborah, who are, who would be the peers and colleagues of, Annie at the Kirby Center down in Wilkes-Barre, all of whom are handling this situation so gracefully and as best they can. And again, no one's expecting magical answers tomorrow. They just want to know that the person behind the scenes is just as concerned and just as invested as they are. Those of us at Scranton Fringe, I can kind of tell you now, I'm literally getting messages on my phone below my laptop as we speak. We're launching an emergency fund not for us at all, but for local artists and arts workers who are out of work right now without any compensation. We're talking to some of our donors and sponsors to help us get that off the ground. And it might be something as simple as my personal Facebook page launching a fundraiser in the next 24 hours. I'm very fortunate in a lot of ways, but I know a lot of people who are out of work, are stagehands, as Annie, I'm sure would, testify to, artists who have entire exhibits and showcases. I also help the AFA Gallery in downtown Scranton. Every April is the senior showcase for the Keystone College art students. And hey, Dustin.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Sorry, guys.
Dustin, you're interrupting me. I'm kidding. Every April, God, my NEPA just came out. Every April in downtown Scranton is the senior showcase at the AFA Gallery for Keystone College art students. It's canceled. It's not being rescheduled. It's gone. They are entering the professional world as artists, graphic designers, baristas. I'm kidding. But, they are entering the professional world without a showcase. That's financial revenue. That's never going to be recreated. That's exposure and marketing and professional gallery experience. So there's a lot of people right now who, no matter how much stimulus and money you throw at the wall, it's never going to be recreated. 5 years from now, will it be okay? Maybe, probably. But in the immediacy, that could make or break an artist or stagehand or arts administrator career. So I don't remember what my original point was.
Well, your end one was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And you know what, Annie, if the FM Kirby Center would like to have the Scranton Fringe Festival present any work on your stage, we absolutely would love to. Except for September 24th through October 4th, which I have no doubt we're going to go dark for anyway.
See, we're breaking down that invisible wall between Scranton and Wilkes-Barre.
I was just going to say, as a joke, that you can never get people from Wilkes-Barre to Scranton or vice versa, and now that it's all digital, you still can.
Right?
It's
Yeah, that drives me crazy. We would, we'll tell Scranton people to go to something in Wilkes-Barre or vice versa, and they just don't want to leave. And I think now, with everybody being holed up, maybe people just want to go everywhere now. People just want to get outside.
Oh, for sure. I think once we're allowed back outside, I think everybody's going to be out every day of the week doing something for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, even the public parks are closed right now. It's tough,
Yeah, it's crazy.
So let's check out our comments here. See if anybody has anything interesting to add to the conversation. Let's. Our buddy George Palamides says that. He's bringing so he would show to our open mic in the Borat sling there. If you've ever seen him in the swimsuit, so he's gonna do that from his front porch. I'm sure his neighbors will really appreciate that. I mean, but you got to take your entertainment where you can get it nowadays. Netflix gets boring after a while. Let's see. Russell Austin, a local comedian, said, I made more friends because of show cancellations because there's a lot of chat groups where artists talk. And I've seen a lot of people, I think, now take the time to reach out to people and have those conversations that maybe they were too busy for before. Everybody's kind of cooped up right now. And, even us as a digital publication, we've been able to do a lot more live streaming. And we try to live stream as much as we can, but I was joking the other day, so every once in a while we'll have somebody be like, oh, the quality of your live streams is great when you're in the studio, but if you're out, in public and you're shooting a show, it's like it's off your cell phone, it's not as good or whatever. Well, now all shows are on cell phones, so screw you guys. We were ahead of our time, I think, anyway. All shows from now on till the end of time will be shot on a cell phone. This podcast apparently is going to be on a cell phone now forever. So, By the way, shout out to Ionic Development for making this whole thing possible. We've got everybody in little chats on the screen here, like we're the Brady Bunch or something. It's pretty cool. Let's see what else we got here. Yes, Jason, I'm the only one who's vertical because I set this up in advance. And I thought everyone was going to do the same thing, and nobody did. So, and I wasn't about to move over.
I didn't even notice that until right now.
If you if you were to look on either side of me, it's just a bunch of comic books and action figures. So this is kind of my little office space. That I do everything that you see on the site. I do it from here, and the superheroes keep me company. Scott Kucharski, our photographer, said the whole social distancing thing is making for some unique ways to hang out. He says I look like Snedeker doing the weather from his Zen den. And he said, and look Ann up there in the corner square like Phyllis Diller on Celebrity Squares.
And can you give us your best Phyllis Diller laugh?
You
did it.
So I guess really what I want to get at now too is what can people who are listening to this conversation, people who want to help but maybe don't know how to help, how can people help local artists? How can people help local venues? What can people do to contribute during this time with them being stuck inside and not being able to do much else?
I think merchandise is a huge thing. And buying, in Ann's case or, all the other venues, just buying tickets in advance as well, or not asking for the refunds. That's a huge help. Merchandise. And then a lot of my friends, a lot of my artists, my artist friends are doing things online where they do have their Venmo and their PayPal. And, even $5 helps, any little bit helps. That's really, there's a lot of stuff out there, buy the merchandise, buy the future tickets. And, even as far as just watch the videos on YouTube, things that you don't have time to do, just become a true fan of bands that you love. And we'll get through it eventually.
I think that a big part of this conversation, I think Annie might have pointed this out, that we're all kind of just waiting and breathing at this moment in time. I think this is a beautiful, if not unfortunate, opportunity for those of us at the administrative level to sort of take a breath. Money isn't going to be the big thing coming in right now, but we have the time to think and brainstorm. I was joking, when I put her on the spot before, but in all sincerity, we've never had a Skype conversation to my knowledge, unless I drunkenly forgot about one, in which case I apologize. We've known each other for years, but to me, it's almost, I've been kind of stepping back and acknowledging, I haven't bought Annie a cup of coffee in 6 years that I've been in my current position. And why haven't I? Do you know what I mean? Mostly because I hate her, but no, I'm kidding. Of course, I'm kidding. No, but why haven't we had a conversation? Why have we? I think what we're seeing right now is the disintegration of our old view of capitalism as it was. We do come from very different objectives and backgrounds, but why haven't we been having more conversations? And I put the onus on me because she has 20,000 times more things to deal with than I do. But no, in all sincerity, I think this is a beautiful opportunity. Reevaluate your partnerships, reevaluate your objectives and directions. And at the individual artist level, I have developed such a deep appreciation. Again, I hate to keep sounding like a brownie point broken record, but the venues like the Kirby Center, like the Scranton Cultural Center, John, Deb, Camille, everyone, me and Liz at the Fringe Festival, we've been talking about how fortunate we are that as much of a economic hit as we're taking right now, that we've been granted this time to reevaluate. And that does not mean you cannot make a tax-deductible donation to the Scranton Fringe Festival tomorrow. But it, and you should. Otherwise, you're a horrible person. I also want to give one last mention. I would be doing a disservice to my community and those that I'm so fortunate to work with, that the marginalized communities that kind of orbit around and build up and are the foundation, if not entirety, of our arts communities, the LGBT community, of color, those that are marginalized, this shutdown is only marginalizing those voices more. And I think that it would be a real disservice as a proud queer but cisgender white male to not, and I hate to get on that soapbox, but to not acknowledge that now is the time, check in with your queer artist friends, check in with the artists of color and organizations of color. The Black Scranton Project, one local example, is a phenomenal organization. And just ask. There is no harm in saying, hey, I'm broke, but what is your biggest need right now? It may be something as simple as resharing a Facebook post. To Annie's point, if you are in a position where you can live for a little bit without that $25, $30, the Kirby Center is going to have other shows. Can you hold on to that? Or do you need to go buy that next halter top from Amazon? You monster. I'm kidding. No, but in all sincerity, I think this is a great opportunity to take a breath and acknowledge your privilege. And for those NEPA Scene diehard fans out there, I've been drinking Jameson this entire time. Have a good night.
Yes.
I would like to jump in now, and the onus is definitely not on you, Conor, but that's part of what I'm enjoying about all of this quarantine is the different ways we're finding to socialize, the different people we're finding to reach out to in the different ways. And I do think it's important. Think of the people who are marginalized, think of the people you're not hearing from, or the people who are your biggest cheerleader. They may need help. And I think, especially on the Kirby end, we've been focusing on the artists and the events. And because right now that is what we're working all of our time on, is to either move these events or cancel these events and schedule for the future. But I think any art form, and especially, what we're talking about here, especially with Conor's work and Dustin's work, is so social. And that is a huge loss that we're all experiencing right now, down to, like, I can use the Kirby Center as an example. I miss our front of house. I miss our ushers. I miss our stagehand union, our security people. I miss the customers coming in and talking face to face. And I would imagine you miss seeing people in the audience when you play, Dustin, when you're live streaming, and those comments are wonderful. But I think, just taking a step back, and of course, support anyone monetarily, however you can, if you're financially able. And I sit from a place knowing that not everyone is financially able. People have lost jobs, people have lost income, like you, Conor. But also support in the comments, in the shares, in, follow these pages, keep people's spirits up, because we are lonely at home and wish we were talking to you and dancing with you and partying with you. Now I'm getting emotional. But we do. We wish you were there. And then the Kirby Center, of course, if you're financially able, don't get the refund. See if you can make the show. But if you're not, get that refund. It's available to you. And if you don't have tickets to a show, you can buy a gift certificate online for when we open our doors and we're back on stage, ready to make magic again.
I'll be the person that will say this because Annie's not allowed to, and she's too kind and charming to do this. So for most people, not all, for most people, you can afford that $20 to $50 right now to reinvest later in an artist. I know, and I agree with you. I hear you that if you need it, because I'm in a position where I have had to ask for refunds on certain things.
Yes.
But on other things, tickets I've bought, I got into a Facebook argument for someone who wanted the refund from their, the wedding singer at the Little Theater of Wilkes-Barre. And I was like, bite me. Yeah. And they asked me if I was in the show. And I was like, no, your mother.
I just believe it. I honestly, at my bigger, I ask for patience and kindness. I don't know if any of you have had to get a refund from Ticketmaster. I can't even imagine what they're dealing with right now, because you say, I'm just pulling a number from the air, but say that the Kirby Center alone has rescheduled or canceled probably 6 to 8 events, I believe. And that we were relatively quiet during this time period for us. Typically, we have many more events scheduled, and they're getting that from everywhere. And it's just taking time. Their phone lines, you can't even get through. And then on like the Kirby end, we now have one employee who has Ticketmaster because we're all working from home. So patience is a virtue.
Amazon is
sure.
asking for donations. Just want to remind everyone of that one more time.
The coolest thing that happened the other day when I did my live stream is that, friends of mine who are in the same position that I am, I checked my PayPal and like they donate. I was like, what are you doing, man? Come on,
Yeah.
That's that warms my heart. And that, that's we're just helping each other out because we're all in the same boat together, man.
Rich, how are you doing?
Yeah, Rich. Yeah, seriously.
The thing, it's weird because as a media source, we're used to being absolutely reviled by the general public and then completely relied on by those very same people. So my heart really goes out to like the journalists right now who are fighting. They have to work every single day anyway. They have to go out in this. The people who are doing the real news, so to speak. I was one of those guys too, so I know how that is. You don't get a day off, and especially during a time like this where there's so much to report, there's so much to talk about, and I feel like people are already kind of flooding social media with the media is evil because we're trying to push coronavirus down people's throats and whatever. But I think people have kind of starting to wake up and realize, oh yeah, they were serious about this. Yeah, they really did warn us as soon as they could. And maybe a lot of us didn't take it seriously enough, and they should have. And now some people are paying for it, And so, as a media source, it's a little bit different. We're arts and entertainment. We try to focus on a lot of positive stuff. We don't report on a ton of negative stuff. We might talk about some serious issues on the show, like on the podcast, but for the most part, most of our stuff is just let people know what's going on in the area. So I've kind of seen a huge drop in like all my emails have stopped, all the shows are being canceled or postponed. So it's almost like at this point, like, I don't know if I should even bother posting that stuff anymore because everybody knows everything is postponed now. So me individually telling you that this is postponed or that is postponed probably isn't that helpful because everybody kind of already knows that kind of stuff. So, I've kind of turned my focus to, doing some more live streaming as much as I can. We're the only arts and entertainment publication in the area that live streams every week, and so now I feel like people are stuck at home. So they're watching us even more now. So there's a little bit of a pressure there to, give people what they want, but also keep people safe as well. When we did the thing at the V Spot, it was tough to schedule that because we wanted to keep within the 10 people or less rule and not have too many people in the venue at a time. And I got absolutely flooded but from local artists who want to participate in that type of thing. And I want to do it, but it's a matter of, legally what we can and can't do. And, Vinny was able to, at the V Spot, was able to talk to the Scranton police, the federal government, the liquor control board, all those people. Okay, is what we're doing exactly legal? Can we do this and that sort of thing? So thankfully, we were within our legal means to do what we did the other day. So maybe we will hopefully do that again within the next week or two with some different local artists. And we thought about some ways that maybe we can support local businesses in the meantime. Maybe do like a telethon sort of thing where we have different gift cards that people can buy to local businesses, local restaurants, things like that. And so in between the artists that we would feature who can live stream, we would have that in between. But I think at the end of the day, people think of media as the place where they get all this information. But if you ask somebody for a little subscription money or maybe buy a shirt here and there, you don't get many of the people who are willing to do that, unfortunately. That's just what I've found. Even at the open mic, We have people who come in and they slap down money. I want everything you have. I want a CD. I want a T-shirt. I want a whatever. And then we have people who've been coming for years that turn their nose up at me and they're like, no, I wouldn't even give you $1. But they will take advantage of, all the things that the event gives them, but not necessarily willing to financially support it. And I see the same thing now with a lot of the local newspapers have a paywall up, and people don't want to pay those few dollars a month for a subscription, but they also want their news. And I'm kind of in the middle on that, not to go off on too much of a tangent, but I do think that news should be public and people should have access to that no matter where they are financially. I think people should know what's in their community at all times. But at the same time, there's enough of sources around here for local news and some free news that I think people should think about donating a few bucks here and there, taking a little bit of money out of their paychecks here and there to pay for a newspaper, even if you're just paying for a digital subscription, to please support journalists during this time and all times for that matter, because they're the ones out there telling you what's going on in your community. Like I said before, we have a PayPal and a Venmo, a Big Cartel, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to buy something from me, we'll make sure to sanitize our hands real good before we ship anything out to people. But we would appreciate that support during this time, because I have maybe 2 months worth of being able to pay my bills, and then I'm out of money, and this thing can't continue. And a lot of the stuff that we're doing that people are enjoying right now, we can't do. So I hope that people will support that, but I don't expect it either, because I know that everybody's hurting right now, and everybody's going to have to take that second or third job at Garrity's. I guess Garrity's is going to save us all at this point.
Oh, baby. Well, Rich, let me say thank you. I know that you constantly reshare all of our stuff, all the panelists here, and we really appreciate that. And you're resharing all of the live streams, and just a little thing like that matters. It's a weird time where the people that normally would want to help are the same people that are in the same boat and like can't financially help. It's a strange thing. It's
right. Yeah, you can't take it personally right now, because it's just everybody's in that kind of boat where they might not know where their next paycheck's coming from. So
it's wild, man.
Yeah, it is nuts. But I hope I've seen some really cool stuff creatively online that's really inspired me, and I think maybe this will inspire people to think more in digital content. I'm a little biased because I create digital content all the time, but I'm seeing artists that have never live streamed before, that have never tried that type of thing, starting to dip their toes into it. And hopefully that helps them get out there. We're sharing that stuff on our page every day. So if you stay tuned to the NEPA Scene Facebook page, we try to share as many of those as I see come through my feed. I try to share them as soon as I can while they're still live, so that people can tune in and participate and enjoy that kind of stuff. Please do that and support those artists and check them out. And, I think this is a perfect time to discover new artists too, because it's very difficult to get people to come out to a venue and see an artist that they've never seen before. There's a reason why cover bands are so popular, because people want to hear the same songs over and over, and they want to hear them the same way. But now is the time, when you get sick of Netflix, when you get sick of Disney Plus, there's only so much stuff on there. Once you binge all that crap, sit online for a couple of hours and check out some of these live streams, because some of the people are doing some really cool stuff, and it might turn you on to some things that you didn't even know were going on in the area before. We're a big proponent of that. I feel like no matter what your musical taste is, or what your taste in movies or theater or anything else is, there is somebody in the area right now doing that very thing that you would love, that you haven't discovered yet, that you're not supporting, and not just during this time, but anytime, so now is the time to kind of, check that stuff out, because you're stuck home anyway. What else are you doing,
I agree.
Yeah, I think we're all going to be somewhat stronger when this is all over. we did things, that we never thought we would have to do or do, and I'm sure you never thought you would have to reschedule things the way that you're rescheduling things right now in your lifetime, And Connor, it's the same thing, man. It's like I looked at our schedule, and I looked ahead, and we were supposed to be in New York, last week, and I knew it just wasn't going to happen. And then I remember one morning I woke up to like a good seven emails. And it was like, all right, well, this is getting real now,
I appreciate and I love how positive we're all being. And I agree. I'm in the exact same place, but I think it's important to, I appreciate what you said, Dustin, like let people know that, I had a day maybe about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, when everything just, and I knew it was coming, but it's one thing to know. And it's one thing to wake up, like you said, and have, the agent emailing you and the producer emailing you and the venue emailing you and everyone I had a morning where I literally went for a run up at Nail Park in Scranton, Pennsylvania, where I'm not supposed to be. I'm not supposed to physically be here right now, and just broke down and I bawled my eyes out for a good hour straight. And it's okay to do that. Like I had this moment of feeling guilty because how privileged am I that, my show is not going to be off Broadway as soon as I thought it was. But it's, it's something that you and a lot of other people invested in and put time into. And I bring up this statistic all the time, but in 2015, the arts generated over $760 billion in the U.S. economy. For the first time, surpassed agriculture. That's not an insult to agriculture. Come at me in my private messages. All the farmers that follow me. But it, but it really reinforced to me that no, what I do does matter, and what we all do has value and has community, regional, national, international impact. And it's okay to give yourself a day or two or a week to mourn that, because this is a form of trauma. It's at a communal trauma. This is trauma at a communal level, and it's okay to feel that, and it's okay to grieve that. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It doesn't mean that we can't repair, but for me, it's 11 years of professional work as an artist, that's been put on hold. For others, it's 20, 30, 40. And I think that it's okay to make space for that grief, and it's okay to have that day where you go, screw it. One of my dearest friends, Simone Daniel, who's another creative partner of mine, who's just one of the most brilliant, funny, talented people I know. I was on the phone with her, and she had a moment of like, everyone keeps telling me that Shakespeare wrote King Lear under quarantine. That guy was writing in pain all the time. Why all of a sudden am I made to feel bad because I'm not making something this week? And she's going to make it wonderful and amazing. I know she is. But for this week, it's okay to not make something. If you are, great. If all you're doing is having that one cup of coffee in the morning and reading that article you've been meaning to get to, mission accomplished.
I wake up every morning in a panic right now. I start every morning panicked until I get my day going. And then I, try and check something off my to-do list, or I just sit and have my coffee really calmly, but I wake up every morning just like, what is going on? And my anxiety is in overdrive. And then I just get myself back on track. So I think your point is perfect, Connor. We do have to make space for that and be okay with it. And I can drop a statistic also, because we had an economic study done in 2016 or 17, and the Kirby Center generates almost $10 million economic impact for Luzerne County. And
Scranton Fringe generates $250,000 every year just during its festival. You win, but still, but
it's huge. The arts matter. They are not essential right now to keep our doors open because we have to save humanity, but we are essential to life. Why
are we always the ones that are the reason humanity exists? But when it comes to time to save humanity, we go down that list real fast.
Right.
We go down that list really quick.
I'm just upset I don't have a statistic. I don't have a statistic.
You wouldn't think the theater people would be bringing out
I
math.
don't know, man. I'm like down here Googling statistics.
Well, I will throw in shameless plug that not only does NEPA Scene have the largest social media following of any arts and entertainment publication in the area, but we're also the only one that's bringing you this type of live streaming content right now. The other guys are left in the dust. Some of these guys haven't even updated since before the quarantine started. So put that in perspective too. And make sure that you're following us on all, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, because we are in tune with this kind of thing. Like what you guys are going through, I'm going through. What I'm feeling everything that you guys are going through right now, and I feel like we're all in the same boat and we're all on the same team. And maybe now more than ever, people are realizing that and supporting each other in ways that I haven't seen before in a long time.
And I think I speak for all of us, I think it's a good time for, we're all anxious and check on people that, check on everybody's mental health for sure. Cause, if anybody needs to call me and just to talk to me, man, call me, it's cool. I'm not going to give out my phone number, but if you have it and you,
I'll give out Dustin's phone number.
But I think it is a good time for, because we're all, there's definitely some depression and anxiety going on with all of us, and let's just check on each other, and we'll get through it. We definitely will get through it. And when we do, it's just like, it's going to be that much more glorious for sure.
I should ask too, has anybody seen anything really cool that's kind of stood out to them? I think, Conor, your Scranton Fringe thing, I think really jumped out to me as like, that's innovative. Somebody can sell tickets to a virtual show and you can watch the video, for a small ticket price. I think that's a brilliant idea that, we should be doing all the time. Like, have you seen anything cool, any cool live streams or anything that maybe caught your eye?
I've just been watching a lot of them, cause it's cool. Cause like every day more and more people are doing it. And it's on every level from Willie Nelson to, to local level, and that's kind of cool. You could really see your favorite artist who's also dealing with this on whatever scale. But you could, there's things to do.
Rich, to your point, I totally agree. What we're doing is really innovative, and I've been impressed by that. I've mentioned this in an interview. I forget who it was with, but I mentioned this before, that one of my original inspirations to this effect, while of course theater's being streamed and recorded and reshared for decades now, that there was like in China, the punk electronic house music artists and DJs kind of started this months ago when their shutdowns were occurring, and they were streaming this out. And I don't know why, but when I was streaming those, not only was the music really cool, and I liked that kind of EDM house style, but it was just really innovative things they were doing. I obviously didn't understand a word they were saying, because I'm not fluent in Mandarin. But I was really impressed by their spirit, and positivity, and their energy transcends all language, and it was really, really cool. I've been seeing theater artists and friends from across the country. I have to give a shout out to one of our frequent collaborators, the now infamous impeachment queen herself, Pissy Miles. Look her up. I'm obsessed with her. Anytime she goes on, Instagram Live or Facebook Live or anything, she's been doing some really cool stuff. So I highly recommend that. And all of the artists in our social distancing theater program at Scranton Fringe have been doing some really, really, really cool stuff. So, yeah.
I think I'm similar to Dustin. I've just been consuming a lot. I'm amazed at what's being put out there, what is available to stream, and I'm excited by that. I think the biggest standout for me was the first one I watched, and it was the Dropkick Murphys St. Patrick's Day show, because that was when everything hit me right away, and it was like right after our first two shows that we had to move. We had Dinosaur World live, and we had Mickey Spain was going to perform in our lobby for the Wilkes-Barre St. Patrick's Day parade, and it was right after that. And I think I was just very adrift, and for some reason, and I think this is the proof of art heals. But I saw the Dropkick Murphys show, and I was like, oh, everything is going to be okay, and saw it from my living room and sang along, and I just felt better instantly. And that was the first bit of normalcy I had when everything just kind of went crazy.
Yeah, that was awesome. I watched it as well, and it was awesome.
So fun. So fun.
Awesome. They absolutely killed it.
And that's not easy to play to basically nobody, more or less.
No, they did like a single person mosh pit. I mean, it was just amazing. It made me feel like he threw a pick into the audience that wasn't there. I mean, it was just so silly and fun, and I felt better.
It was extremely stressful. I mean, I did that just short little hours, and I was more stressed out and nervous doing that than I have been in years.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this all about? And then I watched like Gavin Rossdale do one last night, and he was like, I'm so nervous. And I was like, oh, cool. It's not just me.
Let's see if I think we have a couple more comments here. So if anybody wants to throw something in, now's the time, because we're going to wrap up. Kurt says, Dustin and Tommy, bring the band down here. Perry County doesn't have any cases yet.
We'll wait it out, Kurt. We'll wait it out.
Crystal Lynn says, Berwick now has one case, so don't come here. Love the acoustic songs the other night, Dustin. Helps take your mind off everything, so thanks.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for listening.
James Callahan, our friend over at well,
up,
he's
James?
not at he's not doing stuff at the border bar anymore, and I guess they're moving. But Camp Rattler is still doing some really cool stuff right now. Some digital content coming out soon. I know they're working on some really cool stuff with some really interesting artists, as always. He says, Rich, thank you for your Tyler's support of Aries Arts and Music. You're very welcome. That's what we're here for. I always just tell people that's our job. I feel like my number one job is to give a shit, and that's more than most media you will find, unfortunately. So, we give a shit. So that's our main claim to fame. Ionic Development wants to know, Dustin, what's your phone number? So you open up that, open yourself up for that. So thank you everybody who tuned in and hung out with us for a little bit.
Thank you, Rich, and great to hang out with all of you, man. This is fun. This was fun. I had a great time, and hang in there, everybody. Hang in there.
Too.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, everybody. Please stay positive during all this. I know it's easy to get disheartened, and I know my anxiety is through the roof. My wife's anxiety is through the roof. About the uncertainty of the next few months and what they're going to bring. But the thing that we can all agree on is that the arts are getting us through this right now, and I think they're now more important than ever. Because whenever you feel bad, you put on your favorite album, or you watch your favorite movie, or you go see your favorite show. And now we don't always have those opportunities. So now we have to kind of get in our little bubble, so to speak. But we're all kind of here. We're all kind of available right now. It's those of us who don't have those essential jobs, so to speak. that don't have to be at work every day like they normally would, are stuck at home. So maybe now's the time to reach out to those people. Try to maybe set something like this up. You don't have to stream it to the public like we're doing, but privately do a little chat, hang out with people. Like you guys said before, to check in on people as well. I know some people are probably going through some rough times mentally, and they need that. They need that little pat on the back, or just somebody checking in on them. So definitely do that. During this time, I think we're all thankful that we all have good homes to go to, and not everybody even has that. Or the ability to sit on the internet all day like I've been for the past few weeks. So maybe not everybody has that opportunity, but if you can have maybe 1 or 2 people over your house, not a party, but try to do small little gatherings if you can, if it's safe, if everybody's feeling well, that sort of thing. I know we have to kind of keep our distance during this time, and that's tough, but I think we'll get through it. And I think this discussion definitely proves that.
Anytime there's a pandemic, I'm happy to come on. Only then.
You'll be the first person I call next time that there's a worldwide pandemic.
Good.
So I guess I'm going to go back to my little quarantine shelter now with my little banner hanging behind me.
There you go. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Rich, for having us, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hang in there, everybody.
Thank you to Ionic Development as well.
Thank you, Ionic Development,
for putting this all together and making this stream possible. I'm, as much as I'm online, I'm not always a technical guy, when it comes to this type of stuff. So I'm glad we were able to make this happen. And if you guys like this, please share, let people know about the show. Maybe we'll do something like this next week. So thank you, everybody, and have a good night.
See you guys.